Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bolt Report. My name is Michael X, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Jake Ricker. Jake, we have something very special for the channel today, and it's a little unconventional. Our guest today is known for his social media comedy skills with over 250,000 followers on Instagram, as well as over 100,000 followers and over 14 million likes on TikTok. Born and raised in Florida, you may have seen him wearing a Tampa Bay Lightning jersey in some of his videos, and he's even collaborated with the Lightning in the past. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jordan Davis, also known as Jordan Reviews It. Jordan, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, that was quite the intro. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on here, and would love to chat and talk puck.
So, before we get diving into talking a little bit about hockey, we want to know a little bit about you. You spent over a decade in the marketing service, but when did your career in social media comedy really start? How did that journey come about?
Yeah, kind of a long. Yeah, it started really when I was in college. I actually started like a social media marketing agency, and this is back when like Facebook pages were a thing, and like for business, and you were just like starting to run ads. So I just kind of got into that, and I was pretty good at it. So I was like, I'm gonna just try to keep doing this, and word of mouth kind of was taking off, and I had a lot of local businesses up in Tallahassee that were working with me. Um, Kind of wanted to like go. I wanted to pursue that like full time, but to be honest, I didn't know it was so new, and I didn't know if like that was like a actual thing that I could kind of do. So I ended up working at an ad agency in social media marketing, and that's where I really like learned like the ins and outs. And worked at a few of those. Worked in house at a couple places. Ended up doing a lot of work more on like the video side of things, like video production. I got to understand a lot of like the audience insights. Then as social media kind of evolved into like content creation and influencer marketing, I got to work on that side, and I kind of saw I really liked what a lot of people were doing, and I just I saw like how well like a lot of the brands that I was working on, like how well like their pages were doing. It's like I think I could do this for myself. Like let me just give this a shot. And my name, like my username, doesn't even really mean anything because at the beginning I wanted to just kind of like talk about that experience. So I was just gonna like talk about like my like me reviewing things, and then I just ended up posting a random, literally just the most random comedy skit about the workplace, and it took off on TikTok. And I was like, okay, that was a lot more fun than like just chatting through everything. So I ended up posting more and more of like the comedy stuff. I started growing slowly. It was at a point where like brands were actually starting to reach out at that point, and I was like, this is pretty cool. Like I have a little good side gig going while I'm working my full time. Unfortunately, got laid off from like my the company I was working at, but it was kind of weird timing because I was just starting to ramp up with what I was doing on like my own personal page, and my wife was the one who pushed me. It was like, hey, give this a shot. Like push, like do this, like give this a shot, see like what happens from it because like you're already doing pretty well. Um, she believed in me. She was the one who really like, pushed me to do it full time. So got to give her all the credit. I know she'll listen to this. And sure enough, months go by, and that's how I really started getting into like full time content creation. And now that's my in and out every day.
That's awesome. Well, clearly you figured it out because you're getting over 140,000. I think I saw even 200,000 likes on your post nowadays, which is unbelievable, really cool and great for you. I do want to ask though, how did you get into hockey then? Because you obviously collaborated with the lighting, which we want to get into
Yep.
here in a little bit as well. But when did that hockey fandom really start developing for you?
Okay, so like, since I was a kid, I've been like a lighting fan. I grew up watching. I mean, the days where I remember like very vividly, like when my sister was at a dance recital, and that was I think it was I forget which game it was of the Stanley Cup final. Um, and I was just like, man, like I remember listening on the radio while we were there. Like they had it on the TVs out in like the lobby. That's when I think what year was that? Like the very first, like 2004, right? It was the first.
Yep.
And I remember just like, man, this is. I just felt like I was like a part of something, and that was like really when I was like when I really became like a true fan, I believe. So ever since then, every game, every season, I'm pretty much tuning in if I can, if I don't have any other obligations. Um, and then today, I was, as I'm like doing full time content, I was like, maybe I should try to work with like someone, or like work with like a like my dream team. You know what I mean? So I reached out, and I didn't know what to. I didn't expect to like hear anything back. To be honest, I just kind of like threw myself out there. I was like, hey, I'm a big fan. I also create content. I think we can kind of combine those two things for like the upcoming playoffs. I have a few ideas. I could just like I pitched them on, and they were actually good ideas. One of the videos actually went pretty viral. I think it has over like 1 million views. The other one did pretty well too, which is it was awesome. They have a world class team. Their social team, their marketing team, yeah, they're unbelievable. They helped out like throughout the entire process while I was creating the content there. I don't know if you saw like one of the videos during the playoffs. I literally have a guy walking behind me with like a fake green screen because I'm like on like a Zoom call, but really I was at the game. So that it was awesome. An incredible experience. They hooked me up with this jersey back here. I got a signed Kucherov stick. It was actually my birthday
Nice.
the second time that I worked with them, and they ran and they grabbed me that for like as a birthday present. Obviously, not expected, not necessary, but it was one of the coolest things I've ever experienced. So nothing but great things to say. I was already like a huge fan, so knowing like how much of like a just world class organization they are, it just makes it that much better. So
You getting into hockey like around that first Stanley Cup, I guess like right after that must have been kind of difficult because they had the lockout.
yeah,
So I mean, just your fandom had to sort of get restarted, but you know, really, that first generation of fans, really, really made it a staple for the rest of us, for sure. But we've seen a couple different Lightning jerseys in your videos. There was a original Vincent LeCavalier jersey in there. What other jerseys besides the one that you have right behind you? Do you have for the Lightning?
man, if I could pan over, I have probably. I'm a jersey collector, so I think I have about
Yes.
25 jerseys now.
All right.
Which is funny being far from Tampa because it's like I don't get the chance to wear them as much. But now that I'm in North Carolina now. But it does
Hmm.
get cold in the winter, so it's kind of I kind of work it into my wardrobe a little bit. I throw like the hoodie on underneath, and just if especially if there's not one with like a name or a number on the back, I feel like it fits like a more of a weekend outfit a little bit better. So I try to rock them as much as possible. And then of course, like during the playoffs, I wear them around town. Yeah, no, and I'm sure this is a popular answer. The original retro reverse #1. And in fact, I didn't buy it originally when it first came out. I was like, oh, it'll be around. I didn't really think about it. And of course, those became like the hottest commodity, like our bet, like the most,
They
like
did.
you can't get your hands on one. You can search eBay all day long, and then it's tough. But I ended up finding one. I actually got a Tyler Johnson, uh, and yeah, I mean that's my favorite one. I think I don't wear it out of the house. So
Well, I'm glad you said this because I'm a big jersey collector too. Now, I don't have as many of the older ones. I have all the new ones though. I even splurged and got the Stadium Series jersey. Even though it's not my favorite, I had to do it. I've got all the ones that they've been wearing. And I don't know about you, but I'm big on matching the team. So when I go to games, I'm trying to wear the exact same jersey that the team is
yeah,
wearing. I'm crazy like that. Here's my question though. So you got that one, which you said you got from the Lightning, and they put your name on it. Are you wear the player's jersey, or do you like to have your name on the back of the jersey? Because I like to have my name on it. I want to get your thoughts on this.
interesting. Yeah, I like wearing the players. Just I just show support. I
That's the
think.
right opinion. That's the right
Oh
opinion.
wow, okay, Michael.
Not, but that being said, I like having my own. When they gave me this jersey, I was like, "This is the coolest." I have like my own name on a jersey. Like that was awesome. So I had to like put it up on the wall. It's like that's like my shrine there. Yeah, that's the only one that I have like custom named. I have a few blanks that I like I mentioned earlier. I just wear around town. They're a little bit easier to wear, but for games, usually I'll go for the player.
So, speaking of players, and we've already talked a little bit about what you've done on the content creation side. If you could collab with one Lightning player, could
Oh,
be someone on the current team, a former player, one that you maybe grew up with, who would it be?
I have a guess of
that's
who
a
I think you're gonna say for this, and I'm curious to find out who it's gonna be.
Man, that is a great question. I've never, in fact, I've never really thought through like who. who on the team would make, because it's like a corporate comedy, like office
Mhm.
humor. So I'm like trying to think like what would even, I don't know, like someone probably with like a really good personality or a big personality. Like Pat Maroon comes to mind. I know he's a former player, because I know he does a lot of stuff now with the TV channel that the Lightning play on. Um, I'm trying to think who else. Like current player, I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of them have like a big personality. I'd be open to anybody. I've always had. I know this is kind of like shifting gears to the Bucks, but back I went to Florida State when Jameis Winston was there, and now like his personality is just through the roof. I've always had a dream collab with him, like bringing him along as like my interview buddy. Like he's gonna do the interview for me. He's gonna answer the hard questions. And like he gives like the full on like speech, and like that's like I have like that skit in my mind. So Jameis ever hears this, I would love to collab there. But current players, I don't know, man. That's you got me stumped on that. That's a great question.
When
I,
we
I was
when
thinking
we
Pat
go to
Maroon.
the stadium series, we'll put in a word for you. See if the Bucks the Bucks are willing to collaborate. I know Jameis isn't with the Bucks anymore, but
There you go.
you know,
I'm
Yeah,
sure somebody there. I was thinking Pat Maroon there too. I mean, Pat, especially since he's been on the broadcast. I don't know if you saw the whole Kurds in the third thing what they've been doing. He was wearing the bucket on his head at one point.
yeah, it's so
So
funny.
I feel like you get some out of Pat, and he's done a couple of collabs I've seen. So
Yeah, I
I
saw. Did you
think
see the
Pat.
one? It just popped up in my feed. I think yesterday or today. They were shooting pucks from like the second and third
Trick
level of
shots,
this
yeah.
arena. Just like down, I was like, man. I commented on. It, I was like, they should do shootouts this way. It's a lot more entertaining.
That would
and
be
they're
good.
they're lighting they're lighting Paul Kennedy on fire in the pregame. Like
Yeah,
it's
they're
just
getting they're rambunctious. It's so great.
It's definitely been a major change for that pregame show and how different it is.
Yeah.
Sticking with your content though, you did some of the skits for the lighting that we talked about there. Um, Here's my question though: we got the Stadium Series coming up, and Gasparilla, obviously that's huge thing for Tampa. Um, are we got any skits coming up with maybe some pirate outfits in the office? I don't know how exactly what you were thinking maybe that would look like, but
It's it's funny you say that. I actually just reached out to my contact there, and I said, "Hey, I know that's coming up. I just kind of threw my name out there." He got back to me. He said he's going to see if they're able to hook me up, see if we can
there
do
we go.
something. So fingers crossed that might work out. But I know it's coming up quick. So yeah, dude, Gasparilla weekend is so fun. I did that so many times when I was growing up in Tampa, and then of course when I was in college, we made the trip down. Did it a bunch of times. Actually, I think it wasn't last year. It was the year prior. I went with a couple buddies. My brother-in-law actually, who lives in Tampa now, and that was a blast. And we went to the Lightning game. That was the same day. Man, that was that was a long day, but it was so fun. Speaking of jerseys, like the Gasparilla jerseys, got to be like that series is incredible. I don't have the white one. I just got my hands on the black and gold one, which I love that one.
it's a shame they never wore those in a game.
I know.
That's my thing is like they
They
just
had
wore
the
them.
opportunity to wear them in a game and they didn't do it, but that's neither here
Jake's
nor
just bitter about the Stadium Series jersey.
there.
That's really all
Oh,
that
come on,
is.
it was right there, the Gasparilla jerseys.
Yeah, I was hoping the crest of the that one would be like I'm sure everyone felt that way as well. But that's that skull with the lightning on it. It's so iconic. I love that they were doing that. So, but
Well,
the shoulder patch, I mean, on the one's pretty sick. And the lightning
Yeah,
bolts on the back, they're really cool details on it.
and I happened to see a tweet of yours that was I think it was responding to Andrew Weiss, where you were saying like they were so close to like
Oh
really
yeah,
getting it down, and it
yeah.
was a color change and a logo change, and you were like, otherwise it would have been perfect.
Yeah, I saw that floating around on Twitter. I wanted to give it a little bit more life because I know he has like huge Lightning following. I don't really have
Yeah.
like many followers like that are like Lightning fans. So yeah, I was I think I was pretty vocal about it. But I mean, it's such a cool jersey, regardless. Yeah, a question for you guys: what are your thoughts on our current jerseys, and do you guys think we should incorporate more black like we used to?
I love
Jake, I know you have strong opinions on
this
this.
because I do have strong opinions on this. Listen, I'm a fan of our current jerseys. I know that's today's day and age, right? Your modern
Yeah,
style, trying to keep it clean and simple, and I have no problem with it. I was a huge fan of the original style jerseys, those '04 type of jerseys.
yeah,
Uh, maybe I'll put an image up on screen after this video is edited, but there is somebody did a mock-up of basically it's those '04 jerseys where it's a black jersey, the white and blue stripes at the bottom, but it's the current Tampa Bay Lightning logo in the middle. Those I think would be some of the best jerseys, hands down. It's that combination of you got the clean modern logo, but you got that old school look on the jersey. And even that just as an alternate, I think would look really,
Yeah.
really good. I've been begging for those for a while. Haven't quite got him yet, but
I know
that's my
exactly which image you're talking about because I feel the exact same way. That's pretty much my exact thoughts on it. I feel like they would just instantly be the best jersey in the league, like hands down.
they look so good. There's no question.
I
Yeah.
I don't mind the jerseys that we currently have, but I do think they're like kind of boring. They're very minimalistic.
Yeah.
Everything that we've come out with for other stuff, like the Stadium series and some of the alternates that we've had, like the second reverse retro jersey. People clown on that jersey, the one with the I love that jersey. The waves and the palm
Yeah.
trees. I don't care what people have to say about that. Of course, it's not I will admit it's not as good as the first reverse retro jersey. That
Sure.
one is probably the best jersey we've ever had.
Yep.
And it's a shame we only wore it for 1 year, but I would say like everything that we've created as like a specialty jersey kind of laps what we've got as like our normal jerseys to an extent. I think there's a little bit more creativity in that, and I appreciate that because the Leafs fans will always talk about like, oh, it's just copying the Leafs,
Yeah.
which like I don't know if I agree with, but like it is very simplistic, blue and white. Like
Yeah.
I do wish to get back to your original question, we put more like black in our jerseys like we used to have.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with both those statements.
So when we look at, I know you've been a fan since basically the beginning, but when we look at what the team has done basically since 14, 15, that run to the cup to now, like who are some of those guys that you really look back on and maybe they're still with the team right now because we have a lot of people from that team, but look back on and say, man, I can't believe we had those type of players. Those were my favorite players.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, throughout all those years, there's so many that pop through. I mean, even just to start with that run to the cup. I mean, Tyler Johnson in those playoffs. If he didn't have that wrist injury, I truly think we would have won the cup that year. Um, that's part of the reason why I got him is like the retro reverse. I saw that was available. I was like, I gotta grab it. I gotta show some love for Tyler Johnson. That line, that original triplets line, was just pure magic. Plot, and even he played great even outside of that line up until the last couple. When we had to, I don't know if he got traded or released. I can't remember. It was great watching him, watching Kucherov develop from when he started out to like where he is now. It's insane. One of my favorite players from like that run up until he retired was Callahan. I think he was like just the heart and soul of the team for quite a while. Kind of I wouldn't say like underappreciated, but I think he really he gave it his all every single game. That's for me. I play a lot of sports, so see, like, and that's how I play. Like I'll put everything in. I give it 110% every time. So anytime I see that on the ice, I'm like, that's a player that I enjoy watching. And I think that's why a lot of players or a lot of fans like Yanni Gordon now, because he just puts it all into it every single game. And then that line we had with him and God, who was it? Goodrow and oh God, who was the third on that line? Coleman.
Coleman.
Yeah, that line was
Back.
nuts. Like just oh my God. Like so I mean just the way that they've been able to every year I'm like, all right, like we have our core. How can we continue to like stay at the top like this? Because you see like with Pittsburgh, like they've eventually will hit like a plateau and kind of taper off. Same with what happened with the Blackhawks. Granted, they have a one or two more cups, but still, it's like how are they able to do that every single year? And even this year, I was like, I don't know how we're gonna continue to grow. And then, sure enough, they find these guys and they develop them so quickly that you're just like, where do they come from? And sure enough, like they have there's players on the team now where you're just like, this guy's a star. Like Brad is perfect example, just like taking off. And I mean, look how well we're playing right now. 11-game win streak. We have our two top defensemen out. It's crazy, man. They're the way that they're able to like plug and play players they like that fit the system. Like credit to the coaching staff all the way around.
In coaching staff, John Cooper, man, he's been the coach of the Lightning forever, and he's just won 600 games now, 601.
Yeah,
It's you're absolutely right. It's unbelievable what they're able to do every single year. We're very lucky as a Lightning fan to be
yeah,
able to
very
like
much so.
watch this team. Um, Sticking with kind of your theme of the content creation and the office content, I want to ask you this. If you're in the office right now and you're not really feeling the work, you just want to watch some Lightning highlights, what's your go-to game that you're watching, your favorite moment for the Bolts while you're sitting in the office?
That is a phenomenal question. Wow. A game that really sticks out, and I don't remember what year or what playoff run it was. I think it was the second run of the back, like when we went back to back cups. It was when we played Carolina at home, and it was possibly game 4. I could be wrong. It could either be 3 or 4. It was a home game. And it was just that second period, if you guys remember, it was just back to back. I feel like we were getting just kind of screwed on a lot of, and apologies if that's, I don't try not to use foul language, on a lot of calls. The fans were getting very agitated. The players were getting agitated. And it was kind of like that. And I think we went down like a couple goals because of that. And I remember just like, I watched this game on TV. I wasn't even there, but I could sense like the feeling of like the anger and like that the fans, the players had like, it just turned around like that. We scored, I think, a few goals in like a couple minutes, if I remember correctly. And it just all of a sudden like that, I think at that moment I was like, we're going to win the cup. Like, it's just the way that they came back from that game. And I think it was back and forth throughout the rest of it in the third period too. But I think that was one of my favorite games. In fact, I need to go back and watch that one because that was a good one.
I remember I did go to that game. That was one of the ones I was fortunate enough to go to. And uh, Carolina went up 4-2. They beat Vasilevsky on a really bad goal, which he was awesome in that playoffs, but you look back at some of the goals he allowed and you were like, man, I
Yeah,
can't believe that is the one you let in and
yeah,
not, the tons of breakaways and 2-on-1s and things like that. But as basically we were like, oh damn, the series is going to be tied now. We're down by multiple goals. Carolina's a really good team, and they flipped the switch, and
yeah,
it was over from there. So that's a great game to pick.
yeah. Yeah, and again, like I said, I was like, exactly like you said it, like they just flipped the switch. It felt like, and right at that moment, that's when I knew like this team was different. Like, and I just had a feeling. I was like, no one's stopping this. Like, nobody is stopping. This is crazy.
So one more question for you. Again, we really appreciate your time hopping
Oh, likewise.
on the
I'm
show,
glad
and
you guys reached out.
and so the big elephant in the room last year was the loss of Stamkos, and so growing up with this team, as you did, seeing him basically from day one all the way till his last game with the Lightning. I'm curious, A, do you have any Stamkos jerseys? And B, what did he mean to you as a part of this franchise?
Yeah. First part, yes, I have. I'm looking at them now. In fact, I wish I wish I knew there were so many jersey questions. I would have brought them all out here. They're actually on like a little wheeler thing. I have 3 Stamkos jerseys. One from like the old Bolts, like the blue, which I actually love that jersey so much.
Hmm.
I have a white away and just a regular home Stamkos jersey. So 3 to answer your question. And yeah, I mean, what else can you say? He complete face of the franchise for like, I mean, in fact, probably like I would say the biggest player in Bolts history. If we're being honest,
No question.
I, I, it's such a tough, like the way it all happened and all went down. Like, because part of you is like, all right, you got to understand from like the business side of things. You got to understand it is what it is at the end of the day. They got to make things happen. It's a big contract. I hate to say like the way that it worked out, it ended up being in our favor because I never in a million years would want Stamkos off the team. Like, he should have retired a Bolt, like done, like point blank. Like, there's no way I would have ever envisioned it's a time where I'd watch a game where he's in a different jersey. I just never thought that was going to happen. And I think it took a lot of us by surprise because I think a lot of people felt that way. Like there was just no way that's going to happen. Like they're going to get it worked out. And in fact, that's when I bought one of the jerseys. So I was like, oh, they're getting it done. It was like in that off season. And sure enough, I was like, no way. That's crazy. Yeah, no, that was a heartbreaker from like a fan perspective. But again, at the end of the day, it is business. So, it's unfortunate part of the game. But I think I think it's mutual too. Like I'm sure he feels the same way. Like it's from what he gave to the organization and vice versa. I think he'll ever. I mean, the statue is going to be. It's going to be there at some point.
The statue, the jersey retirement, all that
Everything,
stuff.
the whole nine. Yeah.
Yards. The whole
Yeah.
nine yards. Stamkos is such a legend in the Tampa Bay and Tampa Bay community everywhere you think about him. And you're right. It's still weird seeing the highlights of, when he just hit, was it 600 goals, I believe it was. And they, they put that graphic up with the mix of him in the Nashville jersey and the Lightning jersey. Just doesn't look right. He looks better in Bolts blue. We got to get him back home.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I mean, I'm sure they do like at the very least, like the sign like the 1-day contract to retire a Bolt. But I would love a situation where he plays like one last year in Tampa. Like, and I think everyone kind of feels that way, but who knows? Fingers crossed. That would be, I think, a nice homecoming in a way to end his career.
100%. Well, again, we thank you very much for coming on. This was a great conversation, talking a little bit about you, a little bit about the Bolts, and really they're on an 11-game win streak as we're recording this. So hopefully that win streak keeps going. We get another Stanley Cup in Tampa Bay. But guys, that'll do it for us on this edition of the Bolt Report. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, whatever other social media platforms we use. And again, follow our guest, the social media extraordinaire, Jordan Davis, 100,000 TikTok followers, over 250,000 followers on Instagram at Jordan Reviews It. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us once again. And guys, we will see you on the next one.